Hello everyone and welcome to the part 6 actually, or is it 5 or 6? What did I write down? I have no idea. It's part 5 of the series on writing and making music. So in this lecture we'll be covering the median degree. You should know by now the median degree is the third degree of the scale, and in the case of the major scale it's a minor chord. And in the context of a C major scale, which would be writing in, it's a E minor chord. So as always, we're gonna start with the bass. That's a C, that's an E, that's an F, that's a G, and that's a G. Very classical bass walk. Very classical, very basic. So what we'll do now is add a major chord, then a minor chord, E minor chord. Hold on. C, E minor. So I have to make a strong note. The E minor chord, the median degree in general, not the E minor, the median degree, wasn't used a lot in classical music. It was barely used in harmonic context, at least. What we write here is purely in harmonic context, because the E minor, it has very specific uses for it to sound the way classical music needed it to sound. Because, for example, in this case, if we wanna move to a different chord and make it sound good, for example, the perfect fourth, which is very common, I have, as you know, go up from B to C, but in this case, it would make a parallel fifth, which is very unallowed in classical music. So in this case, we're gonna have to do this, which is fine in modern music, but in classical music, it would be a problem, because again, the leading tone didn't happen, and the leading tone is very important in classical music. So this would be a G chord. Nope. Let's do this. That's a G chord. And that's a C chord. And that's a C chord. Hold on. Let's see. Like, that's the only context I could think of this chord being used. Like, one of the only, not the only one. I'm gonna be showing you a different context where this chord could be used. But in this case, again, the fact that I had to, not play the leading tone made it sound very not classical, because the leading tone thing should happen. So I'm gonna try to rearrange again. I can either invert the E minor chord, which I will do in a bit, or try to move the C somewhere else so it's not an inverted chord. But if I do this, it would be a huge leap. That's also not allowed. So what we need to do, the only strong leaps that could happen is in the bass line. The bass line is allowed to leap a little bit, but the higher notes leaping a lot will make it sound very stretched and dissonant, and we don't want that. So what I'm gonna do is, because I need to take this up, the F needs to go somewhere else, and the only solution to this F is for it to go here. But this will sound very, again, a huge leap. It's a perfect fifth, so it's not as bad. But again, a huge goddamn leap. So let's see. Yep, that's again. You're gonna hear all of it. This leap is catastrophic. So yeah, we can't do that. The second case I could think of, I'm gonna be deleting all of these. They can imagine that could work is if, for example, a G here. Let's do a C and an E. That way the E doesn't have to move a lot. But yeah, that might be a little stretch too. No, not here. Here. The C might be a little stretched. And let's do an F. An F, an F, an F. Okay, an F. This should go up a step. This will stay in place. And this will go up a step. We'll have an F chord. That's an F chord. And now we go up a step and have basically an inverted E minor chord. It sounds a little weird again, but it's the best that we can do in this context. E minor 6th, because when the G goes to C, it gives the feeling of a dominant going to tonic, which is basically usually what people ask for. Nope. God damn it. Yep. That's an E. No, that's an C, I mean. And now we have this chord progression, which works much better, but like this is one of the few cases that the E minor can be used as an actual in a harmonic context. That's why the median chord, I didn't mean the E minor chord, the median chord is used in a harmonic context. Usually the median chord is used on a topos or for an effect, but not as in a harmonic context. Like this sounds fine, but also the notes are very, 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 very close to each other, which is meh. Again, it sounds okay, but not in a way that I would like. And also, this can't finish a piece. You need to do something else, like go down to G. You need a different solution for that. G. And then back to C, basically. Back to C. And this will go in E. Actually, god damn it. Which is basically, no, again. Which is that in order to finish like the musical sentence properly, you can do an E minor 6th to C. That again, you can if you want to, just won't sound satisfying. No, not a system. Let's see. And also, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect authentic cadence because the C isn't the high note. We can do an E, go down, but it's gonna be a huge leap. You can see it's a huge goddamn leap. You can, I mean, again, if you want to go for it. If you want to write classical music, don't go for it. So yeah. That's the lesson about the median degree. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and subscribe and like, and I'm always open for suggestions on new videos.